Hi everyone! Welcome to today's episode of Coffee with Chauwei. So following on from the first episode of Coffee with Chauwei where we talked about my 3 tips to getting that investment banking job. So people have been writing to me to say, hey Chauwei, I followed all your 3 tips and still I didn't pass the interview. And so today we're gonna talk about why didn't I pass the interview even though I thought I did a great job. And to start off, I actually went around asking my friends working in the industry, so be it banks, asset management firms, hedge funds, sovereign wealth firms, pensions. So I asked them what were some of the memorable answers or situations that you found yourself in when giving interviews. And in those situations, the candidate clearly didn't even realize that what they had said or done was a deal killer. So people came up with all sorts of suggestions, and most of it was actually pretty funny. And here I'm going to read out some of the best or funniest answers or situations that people found themselves in. So to get into character, let me put on my glasses. Okay. So it's kind of like a Dear Aunt Agony thing, right? So one of my friends said, I asked the candidate what his strength was, and his answer was, I am very chill. And then afterwards there was silence. So this answer in itself is not a bad answer per se, right? Because you could always explain how I'm very chill in adverse situations at 3 a.m. Even if you ask me to redo a deck that's due at 8 a.m., I'll still be cool as a cucumber. But then giving these answers that kind of doesn't answer anything could be a very Gen Z thing, but to recruiters, we're just okay, what are you trying to say, right? Okay. So from another friend, he writes, I asked the candidate what was his weakness, and this is actually a very common question, right? And the answer that came back was, I'm a perfectionist. So this answer is actually something that interviewers don't want to hear, right? And I think there have been a lot of self-help books or books written by successful candidates who say that always turn a weakness into a strength. But something as cliche as this is really not great. So please don't use this answer ever again if you want to hear back from the interviewer. So this third situation that was provided by a friend of mine working in a sovereign wealth fund is actually quite interesting. It's not a question answer. I'm going to act out the answer. So basically, she said, my colleague asked the classic question of the angle between clock hands. And then the candidate went, I don't wear a watch. Okay, so please don't answer such questions, I don't know, in such a factual manner. I guess it's true. Okay, so the interviewer will be thinking, one, you're trying to make the interviewer sound really old because only old people like us wear watches, or you're trying to get out of mathematical question or an angle question by saying something funny, haha, except it's not funny. So that's also not good. I have another situation that I'm going to act out. So here you go. We gave our candidates a case study to work on, and one female candidate came in and her response to answering the case study was, I need a prop. Okay, so she takes out her tiny bag and takes out the presentation that was folded in halves. So the thing to do when you go to an interview and in person, actually it doesn't matter whether it's a Zoom interview or in person, when you have a document, it should always be neat and crisp in a folder. It shouldn't be folded up, nor should it be kind of crumpled and stuffed in your backpack, which you then pull out. It just looks really unprofessional. So please don't do that. So when I asked them, what happens when a candidate answers in such a manner, then they say usually it's silence. And when your interviewers go silent, you shouldn't assume that you totally did such a great job that they're so stunned, right? It's almost for sure never the case. So they would be thinking of one of these three things. One, they're trying to concentrate on how to breathe. So they're like so shocked that they're like, okay, breathe. And then two, they're trying to think, should they say something? Because if they say something, would it be an HR issue? So they decide to not say anything. And three, they will be thinking, okay, I need a drink, but the bars are closed now because of COVID. And so where's the nearest 7-Eleven? So hopefully this helps kind of bridge the gap between what intern candidates think and what recruiters actually think. So the next time when you think you totally nailed an interview but yet didn't hear back, then maybe you should think back and say, did I say something that was actually completely off? Well, hopefully the takeaway is like before you go to an interview, you try to make sure you don't say those answers that I just gave you, and then the next interview will be a much better success. Okay, so that's it for today. Bye.